Welcome to the State Employment module. This module was produced by CalTAP and presented by Source Plowshares. Alright, we're going to be talking about assistance, apprenticeship, and on-the-job training. So let's start off with assistance. When we talk about assistance within the state of California, we're talking about Employment Development Department programs. We're talking about, for example, Veterans Program, which under that we can see the Disabled Veterans Outreach Program and the local Veterans Employment Representative programs. We're also talking about Veterans Priority and Honor a Hero, which is Hire a Vet Job and Resource Fair. Now, under the Veterans Program, what we see is, for example, Disabled Veteran Outreach Program. DevOps specialists develop job and training opportunities for service-connected veterans. This is state-specific. They work with employers, veteran organizations, the VA, DoD, and community-based organizations to link veterans to employment opportunities. They also serve as case managers for veterans enrolled in federally funded training programs. These specialists are located in state employment offices and they are state employees. They supervise the provision of all employment services to veterans. They monitor job listings from federal contracts to see eligible veterans get priority. They monitor federal department and agency vacancies. They promote and monitor participation of veterans in federally funded employment and assist on other veteran-related issues. Now let's talk about apprenticeship. Let's talk about understanding apprenticeship opportunities. Apprenticeships are combinations of on-the-job training and related instructions for skilled trades. Now, a lot of us are familiar with apprenticeships. They were definitely more normative a few decades ago and prior to that, and so we don't necessarily think of them as much about in the contemporary context of what apprenticeships are, but there's a lot of apprenticeships that are still out there. And let's talk about the pros and cons of that. Starting off with the pros is that these are registered programs that provide opportunities for high-skilled, high-paying jobs. That's hands-on career training. It's a lot better than having to necessarily be stuck in a classroom just learning from a textbook, but rather you are developing your skills while you work. You can potentially earn college credit or related degrees paid for by employers. These are viable career paths, there's national industry certification, and there's recognizable partners. The cons to apprenticeships are they tend to be highly regulated, so it's a bit more of a challenge getting into the apprenticeships and then managing your apprenticeship and going through that. And there's no guarantee of permanent employment either. What's important to highlight there is that there's no guarantee of permanent employment in a lot of areas, and so this is kind of a normal con of going through a bunch of different programs, and it's not necessarily a unique con. Now, when we talk about on-the-job training, we're talking again about another program that you acquire skills within the work environment. There's also a few different pros and cons for that. The pros tend to be for this is, again, employment while you learn. It's not cost prohibitive. When we think about apprenticeships, there are plenty of apprenticeships where you do have to be able to buy your own equipment just to start off, so that can be pretty expensive. We're also talking about it being more task-based and suited for smaller groups. So this is kind of a more accessible form of being able to do hands-on learning within a particular field in order to develop a career, which is fantastic. Now for the cons. Cons are these programs tend to be inconsistent. There can be great on-the-job training programs. There could be on-the-job training programs that you don't feel like you develop anything out of. The training might not necessarily feel good. It might not be productive. There's definitely a lack of quality control. And so while we can say that apprenticeships are overregulated, there's definitely a degree of quality that comes with that regulation that's lost out in the inconsistency of just on-the-job training. Same thing with cons is that oftentimes these can be incomplete. They aren't going to give you the whole necessary training or framework of training that you need. These also tend to lack foundational principles. When we talk about apprenticeships, those are definitely more regimented and established in how that training kind of works. But when we talk broadly about on-the-job training that's not related to apprenticeships, due to that inconsistency, there are times where they can completely lack foundational principles of what you need to be learning on that job. This was a small overview of different state employment services within the state of California. We would like to thank you for your attendance. If you're interested in more information, please check out other related modules, and good luck on your journey.